Member, they didn't hear anything that he said. Awesome.
That was a good take.
I do it all over again? All right, let's start all over. Welcome to the Waiʻalae-Kāhala Neighborhood Board meeting for February 20th, 2025. I'm Brian Wong, the Vice Chair of the Neighborhood Board. I'll be chairing tonight's meeting in lieu of Christian, who's out today, and I represent Subdistrict 2. So let's continue with introductions of the rest of the board members.
Hi, Rich Turbin, representing Subdistrict 3. Rich Turbin, representing Subdistrict 3.
Lee Castengay, representing Subdistrict 2.
He made a Subdistrict 4.
And Colin Fujiki, Subdistrict 1.
All right, very good. Why don't we just jump right into it? Let's get some monthly reports. We'll start off with the Honolulu Fire Department. I see them on with their mic off. Engine 5. We can't hear you. Nope, still yet.
I'll try later.
Oh, there. He just came on. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you now. Perfect.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, good evening. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. I'm Captain Bells from the Kaimuki Fire Station with our statistics for February. Fires. We had 1 brush fire, 2 nuisance fires, 5 activated alarms with no fires, 46 medical calls. We had 2 motor vehicle collisions. And that's it for February. We do have a fire safety tip for February 2025, and it has to do with power outage preparedness. So here are a few ways you and your family can prepare for a power outage. Prepare your supplies, ensuring your lights, your flashlights, your radios, whatever it contains batteries are charged. Don't forget extra batteries. Prepare your family. Check in with family members. If anyone relies on medical devices requiring power, ensure you plan ahead of time for that. Prepare your food and water. Set your refrigerator and freezers to the coldest settings. Keep them closed as much as possible during an outage. Fill up water containers for drinking and other needs. Protect your electronics. Unplug unnecessary electronics to prevent damage from power surges. Never touch down power lines. Always assume lines are energized and honolulu.gov/DEM. Do we have any questions?
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the community? Oh, thank you, Captain. That was a great report. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
And we'll move on over to the Honolulu Police Department.
Hi, aloha, Lieutenant Taro Nakamura with HPD. These are stats for January compared to the previous month. Motor vehicle thefts were 6 as compared to 4. Burglaries were 6 as compared to 8. Thefts was 21 and 20. UEMVs, which is theft from autos, that went down to 14 as compared to 23 the previous month. So had a total calls service of 6,079 for the district. Further statistical information can be found at honolulupd.org. And our safety tip for the month is just a reminder about flash flood preparedness. We did have the big rain a couple weeks ago, and just remember the warning is the one that means flash flooding is occurring, you need to take shelter right away and move to higher ground. Especially, you would think flat lying areas are not too bad, but I can tell you one in I believe it's New Folks' area, Farmers Road. Farmers Road looks flat, but it's very deceiving. There's a little dip in there, and almost always we get somebody caught in there. Even police officers get caught and flooded out. So yeah, please take weather warnings. Please be aware of them, and then please take them very seriously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Any questions from the board?
Previously, I asked if you could get some statistics on accidents on Halikoa Drive. Do you know if that's been done, or is it available on honolulupd.org?
I'm sorry. Who had asked for that?
I
not-
asked for it. I was looking for a number of accidents on Halikoa Drive.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that request, but I can look it up for you. From what date to what date?
If you could do it over the last 5 years, that'd be great.
Oh, 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know how you
Years?
keep the data, but
Okay, that might take a while. And then Halikoa is a long street.
drive.
From where to where?
Just the first mile, so it'd be up to the 2000 number.
Okay. What is mile?
Yeah, I'm asking because there were 7 accidents like right in front of my house, so I'm curious about the rest of the road.
If you give me, actually, if you give me the address or the block for your house, that would be easier to research. You said 2700 block?
No.
No,
I'm the 1900 block.
1900.
Yeah.
Okay, I can try to research that, and I can get back to you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, who was asking this?
This is Lee Castongay.
Okay, Lee. Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? No?
So this is Richard Turbin. I've been complaining probably for a year or two about the tents, the illegal campers on Kahala Beach, particularly near Waiʻalae Beach Park. Well, I'm happy to say that the last few weeks, the last month or so, the tents are gone. And I'm fairly certain that HPD has had something to do with that. So I just want to thank you very much. We really appreciate the fact that presently we don't have illegal campers on the beach, and I hope that HPD can continue patrolling it to make sure that we don't get any new campers or the old campers coming back. But there is still some refuge from the campers, kind of sleeping sheets and other residue from that illegal camping. And I'm wondering if HPD can look at it and call up, I guess it's the city facilities management that cleans up the beaches when they're really dirty, and see whether we can just clean up the residue, and hopefully some of the foliage will grow back, because the campers did remove foliage. But again, thank you very much for helping our neighborhood out.
Okay, good. Thanks, Rich. Any comments or questions from the community? Okay, thank you.
Okay, Law.
Hello. I don't know if this is something you can do with, but I'd say within the past 6 months, the Waiʻalae Bridge, there's a chain link gate that leads to the easement. It's been broken open for a long time, and ever since that's happened, there's been a noticeable increase in the amount of homeless people that are sleeping right around that gate under the bridge, and it's all the same people that I noticed. So I was just wondering if there's anything that HPD or whoever could at least fix the gate and try to do something about.
That's whose property is that? That's not an
Um,
HPD gate.
Oh, okay, that's the Hiko substation. It's right next to there.
Okay, that might be a better question as to whoever owns that gate.
Okay. Thank you.
Just for clarification, if I
Which-
might ask, are you talking about the area that's on Malia Street?
Yes. Yes.
Just
the-
before Kahala Nui, that little area?
The
Okay,
the bridge.
right. Okay, I just wanted it for reference, and then maybe in the conversation, one of our folks that will be going through may be able to help.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions or concerns, questions or comments? HPD? No? Okay, we'll move on to Board of Water Supply.
Okay.
Lorna.
Oh, Law.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Lorna Heller. I am from the Board of Water Supply. The announcement I have this month is really quick. We don't have any main breaks to report for January. The announcement for this month is about making sure you folks are aware of our water waste hotline. So if you see water being wasted, such as a broken pipe, a malfunctioning sprinkler, a running faucet, excessive watering, or something similar, please let us know so we can follow up and stop the unnecessary water loss. To report water loss, we have 3 different ways. You can go to our website, www.boardofwatersupply.com/water waste. The second one is to email contact us at hbws.org. And the third way is to call 808-748-5041. Just want to encourage everybody to make every drop count and do our part to conserve our precious and limited water supply, because water is life. That's all I have for this month. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the community? Okay, thank you, Lorna.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, next on the agenda, filling of vacancies. We do have 2 vacancies currently open, one in Subdistrict 1 and our at-large position. Subdistrict 1 is the area, I think it's Wilson Elementary, Wilson Park, going up the valley there on Kilauea? Kilauea, yeah, all the way up the valley. Anybody in the immediacy wanting to? Doesn't look like it, but keep your ears open, eyes open. Yes, Rich.
Anson, I'm just wondering, do we have candidates who have filed, sufficient candidates who have filed, well, in District 1 and nobody? Tomorrow's the deadline, right? Yeah, I know, but so Anson, as far as the elections, do we have candidates for the election for at-large and Sub-District 1? Okay.
Rich, just to answer your question quickly, I took a glance at it recently, and there is one person that's in candidate for the at-large position. I believe we have candidates in each of the sub-district at least. So looks like it's good. Okay, so keep your ears and eyes open. If anybody wants to join for the next few months and then become a candidate, we got till tomorrow. Let's move on to elected officials report. Governor Josh Green's representative, I think Patty Janet, she's on there. Yeah, I see that. Go ahead.
Mai Kako. I'm going to paste a link to the governor's newsletter into the chat. And I have two things to report that have come up in meetings here prior. One is a Department of Education property that had experienced a lot of overgrowth and it's not a school, but it's like a holding yard. And I just wanted to say that I did contact the Department of Education. They know about that property growth. They're making plans to remediate it. That should occur in the next few weeks. If not, if we come back to this meeting next time and it has not been remediated, please let me know. But they do have plans to make that a little bit more cleaned up. And the other question that came up in our last meeting was regarding wildfire mitigation at Diamond Head. So the Department of Parks, or the DLNR Division of State Parks, is working with the Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization. And so this is the statement that they sent to me. They said, as we launch the Diamond Head Wildfire Mitigation Planning Project, the community will have access to two key workshops designed to enhance wildlife preparedness and resilience. The first, Ready, Set, Go, and Firewise Community Workshop, will take place early in the project, spring 2025, likely April or May. The interactive session will empower residents with knowledge and tools to protect their properties and foster a culture of wildfire resilience. Topics will include Hawaii's wildfire risks, the Firewise Community Program, and practical strategies to reduce ignition risks on private properties. Participants will also have the opportunity to collaborate with the Division of State Parks and Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization. Educational materials will be provided, and community members interested in pursuing Firewise initiatives can engage in planning discussions. The second workshop, Overview of the Diamond Head Wildfire Mitigation Plan, will follow the finalization of the draft mitigation plan. It's anticipated by the end of this year. The session will educate residents about site-specific wildfire risks and outline mitigation and preparedness strategies for the Diamond Head area. Key topics will include vegetation management, defensible space, evacuation procedures, and the role of the community in wildfire resilience. The HWMO team and the Department or the Division of State Parks will present the plan, followed by a Q&A session. Participants will receive handouts summarizing the plan's key elements. Both workshops aim to equip the community with the knowledge and resources necessary to enhance wildfire preparedness and resilience, ensuring that residents are informed, engaged, and ready to take action. Neighborhoods interested in joining the Firewise Communities Program will be supported over the long term by HWMO and DLNR's Division of Forestry and Wildlife, who lead the program. So that is what I have for you today.
Thank you, Patty. Any comments or questions from the board? From the community, any comments or questions? All right, thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
On to the Department of Transportation and Highways Division, Casey Abe.
Good evening, Vice Chair Wong and members of the Waiʻalae-Kāhala Neighborhood Board. Casey Albert from the State DOT Highways Division. At last month's meeting, I mentioned graffiti artists were working again. Our maintenance crew managed to paint over some of the graffiti, but in one case, the graffiti artists returned right after we painted over their artwork during my February 14th field inspection. But I'm happy to report that our maintenance crew painted over the new artwork during my follow-up field inspection this morning. In other situations where the graffiti artist leaves their artwork on signs or uses stickers, it will take our maintenance crew a little longer since they need to use a lot of elbow grease to slowly remove the graffiti and stickers without damaging the sign. So we want to thank the neighborhood board and the public for being patient with us. During my field inspection last week, I noticed potholes have returned due to the heavy rain that we got a few weeks ago. We worked with our maintenance crew on patching the potholes. Besides creating potholes, the heavy rain was great for vegetation and prevention of wildfires, but it created a potential accident waiting to happen. I will be working with our landscaping crew on cutting back the overgrowth before an accident occurs. At last month's meeting on January 16th, I mentioned about a homeless encampment at Waiʻalae Avenue near Straub Clinic and Urgent Care. During my field inspection on February 14th, our homeless coroner cleared the area, but during my quick follow-up inspection this morning, I noticed the homeless encampment has returned. So I worked with our homeless coordinator to have the homeless encampment removed again. And during my field inspection on November 14th and this morning, the other homeless encampment that I mentioned at the January 16 meeting is refusing to move. Hopefully, our homeless coordinator can convince the encampment to move out soon, or else we will need assistance from our state sheriff office to help clear the encampment. During my field inspection on February 14th, there was a new homeless encampment on the east side of Waiʻalae Avenue under the H1 viaduct, but our homeless coordinator removed the encampment during my inspection this morning. Unfortunately, the homeless encampment left their trash, so we'll work with our maintenance crew to clean up the trash. And finally, also during my field inspection on February 14th, there was another new homeless encampment under the west side of Waiʻalae Avenue under the H1 viaduct, but our homeless encampment removed that, homeless coordinator removed that encampment during the inspection this morning. But unfortunately, I also noticed the graffiti during my morning inspection, so I'll be working with our maintenance crew to paint over the graffiti. This concludes my report. I can take any questions at this time.
Okay, Casey, thank you very much for your report. Any comments or questions from the board?
Yeah, Casey, lately the morning commute from our area to downtown has gotten, well, it changes, but it's gotten on the whole worse. And I was told that there's a lot of highway work, repair on Kapiolani Boulevard. So I think that's one reason why it's gotten so bad, because when the freeway gets really clogged up, a lot of people exit onto Kapiolani Boulevard and go to downtown that on that route, which generally moves fairly quickly. Do you know how long the road work on Kapiolani will go on for? So we'll have it back as an alternative commuter route to downtown in the morning.
I'm not sure that Kapiolani is a city and county road, so maybe my counterpart, the mayor's rep, John Nouchi, who's on the DTS, would know, because that's their city and county's road. So I'm not sure. We'd have to refer to John.
What about Nimitz? What about where Ala turns into Nimitz? That's been clogged up too. I assume you're probably doing some electrical work for Hart or for the
Yes.
Skyway. Is
Yes.
that state responsibility there?
Yes, that's a state road, and right now, that section of the road has been turned over to Hart while they relocate the underground utility lines. So that's still going on, and once that's done, the guide will start construction all the way down to South Street.
Yeah. Do you know how long it'll go on?
I can go check for you and get back to you at next month.
Yeah, because on some days you got to wait 20 minutes to get past that area to get to downtown. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Any questions from the community? Okay, again, thanks, Casey, for the report. Great pictures that you showed there and all the work that's being done. Appreciate it.
Sure. You're welcome.
Next is Mayor Rick Blangiardi's Representative John. I don't see. No. Okay. Then we'll move over to Councilmember Tommy Waters. Amanda.
Hi,
Oh,
good
there she
evening.
is. Yep.
Hello. Aloha, good evening, everyone. Amanda Zapella here for Chair Tommy Waters' office this evening, City Council. I do have a few community updates to share. The first one was that we wanted to report on behalf of Department of Transportation Services that they are about 90% complete doing the design for the speed humps that will be installed on Kealaʻolu Avenue. So we're really happy to hear that. I think at this board and in the community at large, this has been one of the longstanding issues we've been discussing is speeding there. So again, design 90% complete. We expect 4 to 5 speed bumps along that roadway, so we're looking forward to that. Although it's still probably a year or two out as far as when actual construction will begin. So we'll continue to update on that issue as progress moves forward. I wanted to report on the drainage issue. Again, another longstanding issue that had been reported at Waiʻalae Beach Park near the showers. This past month, we were finally successful with DPR in getting Department of Parks and Rec to get them to sort of completely backfill that whole area to fill in all that deep sort of trenched area that had become, it was sort of a muddy mess everywhere and a sort of a trip and fall hazard. So we're happy that that issue has been taken care of and we hope that it lasts. For Kahala Community Park, I just wanted to give a quick update. Community member Robert Pennell has been addressing the board and committee on that issue. We are still awaiting an update from DPR on the status of fabrication and installation of the custom bathroom gates. But we know that they are working on that. And then once those bathroom gates are completed, they have committed to working with their third party security company to adjust the contract that they have to include Kahala Community Park for locking of those gates once they're installed. So once I get some more information back on that, we'll report back. But the one thing I wanted to mention too was I know we had previous discussion about potentially modifying the park hours there. And so I just wanted to sort of remind if that is something that the board wants to pursue, DPR has asked for there to be a board discussion and a resolution for the modification of the hours. And then, of course, at that point, Chair Waters would be happy to support that request as well. And then just to follow up on board member Turbin's complaint about the green tent. I know I heard some comments earlier about that as well. Following the last month's meeting, I did reach out to HPD, Narcotics Vice Division. And so we know that they have been investigating that situation there. I did speak to the investigator. They did do some surveillance, some sort of covert surveillance there. He did say that they didn't observe any sort of drug dealing or drug activity as far as they could see. But the investigator actually lives in the area and frequents that area. So he will continue to monitor and make sure that there's nothing else going on. As far as the homeless encampment and the remaining debris, we encourage folks to report that directly to DFM Roads at honolulu.gov. DF Roads at honolulu.gov. DFM is in charge of the SPO S&O team that will go out with HPD support to conduct those enforcements and removal of stored property. So again, please report those concerns directly to DFM for the quickest response whenever you do see it come back. Oh, seems like I One more, sorry. And then I'll just report on one piece of legislation that we've been talking about for quite some time, Bill 50, relating to street parades and other activities. We have had a lot of discussion on that, several drafts of the bill, and we are finally scheduled to hear that bill for final reading and adoption at the February 26th full council hearing. So please, chime in if you have any last minute sort of feedback at this point. Although we've heard a lot of it and we've incorporated all that into the many amendments that have gone in, so we're confident that we're moving forward with something that works for everyone. And with that, I will take back any questions or concerns you may have.
Amanda, thank you for your report. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, Amanda, Colin Fujiki. I was wondering if you had any information about the Akaika Waterman's camp and their situation. I know that Tommy Waters resides over that district.
Yeah, someone did mention it earlier this week. They emailed just sort of briefly offering their support for that situation. I did try to research what was kind of happening there, and I wasn't able to find any information. So we're not really sure exactly the details of what sort of dispute may be going on.
I guess it's a kind of an internal dispute. I guess the yacht club is attempting to kick out the Kaika, or saying they're going to kick out Kaika due to some harbors laws or something, a conflict with the division of harbors. And I think the yacht club is blaming the division of harbors for saying they have to repair something and they're not adequate facilities for what they're running or something. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure what anything more on that. I mean, I definitely have some emails from the Kaika. If you reached out to the Kaika Waterman's camp, I'm sure they give you all the information that you need to. There was some sort of testimony the other day as well.
Okay. Yeah, okay. We haven't heard anything else further about it. If it does relate to sort of deal in our harbors division, it might be something more appropriate for governor's rep to follow up on. She may be able to get some more information sort of on the background and what's happening there.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Any other comments, questions? Sylvia?
Amanda, can you spell your last name? Is it Zappert?
No, I saw it in I saw that in the agenda, but no, it's ZEP as in Paul, EDA, Zapeta.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. Sylvia is always on the details. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Any questions from the community? Okay, Amanda, thank you very much for your report.
Great, thank you so much.
We'll move over to Representative Grandetti. Anybody from her office? Not tonight. Okay, we'll continue with Representative Mark Hasham's office.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Mahaya, and as I mentioned, for the last neighborhood board meeting, I'll be here representing Representative Hasham. We don't have any significant updates. We're on the Committee for Water and Lands, but as always, I'm here to take any questions, comments, or concerns that you all might have back to the representative. So thank you so much.
Any comments or questions from the board? No. From the community, any comments or questions? Okay, Mahia, thank you very much. And Senator Stanley Chang's office. Okay, not tonight. We'll move on then to resident and community concerns. we'll go straight to the community. Anybody have any concerns to be brought up to the neighborhood board? Mr. Pennell?
Good evening, especially to Amanda Zapata. Thank you for your response. It's very welcoming to hear that we're moving forward with the lockable gates on the Kāhala Community Park restrooms. For those who are aware of the issues over the last few years, which were increasing, obviously, as homeless people decide to move from the beach area, which Rich Turbin has pointed out, into the community park area, it also affects the residents. And I firmly believe, as do many of the residents in the streets, surrounding streets, that these gates will help to curtail that illegal activity, unpleasant activity. And I've witnessed it. I've been out there as best as I can to try and render assistance on one occasion, but even that, they come back. So putting the gates on the toilets, on the restrooms, as I see around other restrooms in all different areas, is going to help curtail that activity. Homeless or other people make a deadline towards those toilets, and it's after hours. So thank you, Amanda. It's welcome to hear that. With reference to changing park hours, I firmly believe changing the park hours will also attribute to a reduction in homeless or other related incidents and activities in the park. The regular participants in the park, and we live straight opposite the toilets there, the restrooms there, we see it all going, they're gone. They're gone 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I see that there's no benefit to the community, to the park community, to the residents to have the park open till 10 p.m. So I'm firmly of the opinion, if we are all together going to work on this, to revise the park closure hours. And that's open for discussion. With regards to another matter that I raised, which I think you would be aware of, Amanda, and I did get a response, and that is regarding the trash bins. The trash bins are a plastic, low volume type. They're sort of more domestic, I'd say. And we do see in Waikiki and other areas really nicely built quality trash bins, semi-enclosed. And I don't mean those with the lid that you put on it, but with semi-enclosed that stand up to the wind and the storms, and they just don't blow over. So that's another matter which I'd like to make sure we retain our energy on, as there's not enough bins in the park on those high volume days, especially, when there's sporting events and large numbers of people, and when the Sony Open are using it as the community park. And myself and other people in the streets are going around picking up rubbish at times. And I see other community park goers doing that too, because the bins are overflowing. So larger, more purpose-built bins, please keep that on the agenda, Amanda. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that progresses. And there's not enough bins as well. There's a fresh matter, and I perhaps might have raised it before, but I think all that which we've been talking about, this is the mower and community park matters, this has slipped a little bit to the side. It's not perhaps a major matter, but it's something that I think we should be aware of. And the Kalani High School students use Mower Street to do wheelies. So they'll come down Pahoa, turn right into Moa, and of an afternoon when they're going down to do their sporting events, they pop wheelies, and they'll practice that. And now they're at a stage where they can do a wheelie, back wheel, wheelie, all the way down the street. Is it a danger to the community? Perhaps not that much, but there's a lot of noise that come out of these mopeds. They seem to be on high octane fuels or the like, and they screech down the street. And I think Kalani High School should have some onus of responsibility in ensuring that their students are suitably advised about this. They are being watched. They're on CCTV. Obviously, I'm not going to ring the police or anything else every time I see them whizzing down the street, but maybe a representative of our community can go to the community, go to the Kalani High School and just say to them, cut it out. Just stop doing this. Go about what you're doing in a respectable way to the community, and perhaps save an injury or a life along the way. And elderly people do cross the road with their dogs and they stagger around the place. So if you're on one wheel going down that street, you're near enough to being out of control. So maybe if our board somebody can make a representation to Kalani High School about that. Yeah. I've just got a few notes I've written down. Yes, I agree with you, Rich. I'd go down to the beach there. That fellow selling his drugs in the green tent, I haven't seen him around for a while. But there's a bit of his rubbish left behind, the trash left behind. And obviously the vegetation's been altered with. And yeah, so I appreciate that comment from you, Richard. The thing for us, really, in Moa Street, all the way from Farmers down to Pahoa, each year is this Sony Open. And we all know the financial benefit. We all know the interest in the sport and what it does for the state of Hawaii in bringing this major event. However, it's the people of Moa Street that really pay the price. And I say that because the community park is used for car parking. Now, other park users are obviously affected by it, but our street for that 8-day period in January is chock-a-block full of buses and people. And Moa Street would probably be the least convenient street for those buses to assemble to await to pick up and drop off people coming and going from their cars. Why? Because it's the narrowest street. And when you've got Pahoa and Kilauea streets, which are much wider and offer a far better opportunity for the buses to line up further away from the houses and cause less congestion, the buses or trams, trolleys have been backed up over the intersection, across the crosswalk, and it's quite difficult at times for people getting in and out of their driveways. Then, of course, other spectators wanting to attend the event are being dropped off, and those cars then park on the no standing side of the road. So again, I did raise this in several communications. Why not review this with Sony and ask them if what they feel about it, and move the drop off and pick up locations from Moa Street to a better suited street further away from our narrow street and the congestion surrounding what they're doing at the moment, and the noise. So we get noise through our houses there too. So on that note, unless there's anybody got any questions.
I was remiss in the very beginning when I had you come up. If you could introduce yourself, so that,
Robert Pinnell.
Robert Pinnell, yes,
4741 Moa.
appreciate it.
Just a couple of comments. I believe it was just several days ago that the city council passed an ordinance on one of the readings against the wheelies and that type of stuff. So I think shortly it's going to become illegal, and it'll be a police issue when it'll be illegal to do that. To what extent the police will, I mean, are they going to arrest somebody if they don't personally see it? You know, that's the problem.
I don't see it as a police matter. I see it as representation to Kalani High School.
Yeah, I know.
It'd be complicated trying to arrest a kid on his bike.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
The other point regarding the hours, I know at one point you told me presently, what hour does the 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
10 o'clock. And so you would prefer what, 9 o'clock?
I'd say an earlier closure, 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. even, whatever we can do within reason, fair and balanced with regards to park goers. But there's nobody wanting to use the park after 8 p.m. at night, really. And, you know, whilst the construction activity was going on at the community administration building, there's been very little activity in the park. We haven't seen the homeless. We haven't seen, though, since it reopened, there was one incident, only 3 or 4 days after it opened, people screaming and shouting at each other and making threatening verbal language. So it is the restrooms there that is the destination. And, you know, the restrooms serve a purpose. I agree with you, but we don't need restrooms and open all night long. And I think culling back the park hours will also benefit the community in reducing, you know, bad behaviour, really bad behaviour. And I've seen it. It's not a good thing to see. And as a resident of the street, you don't want to live with that. You don't want to hear it. And then I walk out, and then my question I ask myself, do I become involved in trying to stop this? Well, obviously, that's the wrong decision to make. But if you see a woman being assaulted, it's a pretty grisly experience. It's terrible. Any man, I think, would think about trying to intervene to stop it. Perhaps.
Robert, appreciate the sharing and definitely very important matters. Ask that Amanda on the following meetings or board meetings, if she could report back on the progress of the gate and what's happening at the next meeting, just to see where we are with that along the way. It is an important matter. It's been on our agenda for a little while now, so we're getting there. Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. May I just add one more thing? Amanda here.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Pinnell, for being here tonight. We appreciate it. A couple of things. I just wanted to mention that, yes, we do have Bill 61 at City Council relating to wheelies. It hasn't been adopted. It's actually on the agenda for next Wednesday's full council hearing. So if you're interested in kind of reviewing that and offering any feedback on that, that would be appreciated. But I hear what you're saying, that you don't necessarily think it's an HPD problem, and that it might be very helpful for just, you know, word to get back to the school to ask the kids to, you know, just sort of do the right thing and be safe. And, you know, I might suggest, if the board is willing to take the issue up, in even just writing a letter to the school or to the principal, raising that matter, that might be helpful. But there is sort of a legislative piece to it too, that we do need some stricter language in our laws to help us deal with that issue. And then, I'm so sorry, I forgot. Oh, I wanted to mention, I don't know if you were here last month, but I looked back at my notes from last month's meeting regarding the Sony Open Moa Street parking discussion, and Chair Dequevedo was going to email me and Deputy Nouchi about that issue. And I think lucky for us at this board, we do have Deputy Nouchi as the mayor's representative. So hopefully he'll help us sort of work that issue out. And again, I did put in that notice to DTS that there were concerns. There have been concerns over the years. So they're also internally looking at where they can move it, what else they can do, and how they can help to address those issues. So I think, on their end, they're doing their part. And then on the board's end, let's do our part, and hopefully we can get together and solve that issue for the coming year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Appreciate the additional information. Thank you, Robert. Any other concerns from the community to be shared? Okay, thank you again. Oh. Introduce yourself and
Hi, excuse me. My name is Estrida Pazentiner. I want to apologize for my tardiness. I had another infliction with a homeless person in front of my residence, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but I'm tired of it. I'll get to that later, not today, but just addressing Mr. Purnell's, valid points. As a woman, I hate to say that you should close a park bathroom at 10 p.m. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm glad it's on video. It's proof. But I will tell you that I would never go to that restroom at 10 p.m. at night knowing how dangerous it is, because it's not worth it. If I have to go to the loo or hold it or buy a diaper, it doesn't matter at this point. My safety and my concern, there's nothing. And I was not the greatest child or teenager, I'll be honest. I might have been one of those wheelie, kids. And I have to agree highly that there's nothing that's good that's coming of it. I will myself get more involved and check out Kāhala Beach Park because I'm afraid to see what that has become. Unfortunately, the safety, and let's think about children, even if families are having a barbecue and obviously they're most likely drinking alcohol. Is a child even safe to go into a restroom? It's just not worth it. So I completely back him up on that. With that note, I also wanted to mention that was really refreshing to hear a positive, proactive idea about the Kalani High School kids doing the wheelies or acting like teenagers. I too spent my summer schools at Kalani. And I'll tell you one thing though, and I again have to address in another time, and you're lucky my voice is about to run out. But back in the day, we had officers of HPD that were so amazing. I respected them more than my own father, and we got in trouble. And I'll tell you one thing, they made sure that we got home safely, but we almost felt worse about what we did. I certainly did. Then I worried about my parents who weren't really there, and disappointing them. That would be legends like Rosa and Souza and Ornelas. I'm 51 right now, and I don't know how, but I to this day have so much respect for them, and they would, like I said, make sure that we got home safely. And I'll tell you, we never did what we did again. So that was the nucleus of us learning respect for elders and rules. And basically, you know what, they gave us a little bit of respect and we gave it back. And I can say that all these years later. So that is so refreshing to hear, Mr. Purnell, of a proactive idea. And I think that's fantastic to go to the school and put some energy and some dynamic of from the state on, it is a public school, so why not, of not just going in there and being authoritative and telling them, first of all, let's be honest, HPD is not going to go and stop it. Not if they didn't stop my assaults or what we see right here driving into our board meeting. Or, yeah, exactly. right outside my home or your home, or it's everywhere. But I take Kahala very personally because this is where I was born and raised, and this is out of control. So I really like that idea, and I would love to mesh some ideas together with that, because you know what, there's people there's a teacher from Kalani, Mrs. I think it was Mrs. Heen. She was an art teacher. She's a legend too, and she made things fun, and people still talk about her. So there is respect. It may not be Mililani and what's going on in Kapolei with the
Yeah.
exact extremity.
Can I just interrupt just for a second?
Of
This is for
course.
Robert too. Just a little bit of history. I don't know whether it was you, Robert, or somebody else. A couple of years ago, had the problem with the Kalani baseball team practicing at the park, and actually they came down. I think you or one other neighbor complained to the Kalani baseball team, and those coaches came down and apologized and said they'll try to do better. Of course, they're there at the scene, so it makes it easier. But I'm just wondering if one of you would want to contact the Kalani High School dean. Probably, yes, because I mean the dean, they would interview.
Let's start putting some ideas together.
Yeah, but I mean, the problem is they're not on the scene, escorting them from home to school, but they could bring it up at school assemblies. Yeah, and I think that would be a help. Yeah, at least on the other incident, the Kalani coaches, did help out. Just wanted to.
That's
Okay,
great.
some good thoughts for us to think about and see what we can do.
Thank you.
So thank you.
I wanted to say, Mr. Turbin, I agree with that. And it's a beginning. It's maybe an idea for me to be here. I'm not exactly wanting to become, start going to board meetings, but actually I think it might be my thing, because if we have a voice, we can get other people involved and that care, and it takes one person to change, and it's integrity. So if we're not doing it now, then what are we doing for our future, our grandkids and such? So
Right.
anyway, I thought that
Thank-
was a great idea.
A lot of ideas come out of the board meeting, so appreciate it. Appreciate the conversation. Thank you. Okay. One last call for any community concerns. Okay, we will continue with what we got here, board business, unfinished business, and some presentations. So we will start off with Barry Witherspoon from Verizon, talking about the rising cell tower.
Hey, this is Tan with on behalf of Verizon. Barry, unfortunately, I don't think he's able to make it. He was catching a flight, so I will be presenting. Let me just present my screen. One moment, please. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Verizon is proposing to install 3 cell sites. And just to give you guys some background on the myths and facts on 5G and 4G small cell technology, there's been a lot of myths about 5G, about the safety of 5G, that it's not been researched, but a lot of it has been researched and backed up by scientists and the FDA and different agencies across the U.S. Another myth is 5G uses a millimeter wave spectrum that's harmful. That's also not true at all. RF energy exists all around us, and most of it is very safe, because the FDA and other agencies govern this technology. I'm sorry, just my mouse keeps moving. The other myth is wireless carriers clustering in an area will cause a cumulative RF energy to exceed FCC limits. This is not true also. So that the fact is there's no matter which generation of technologies we use, we have to comply. Verizon has to comply with all the safety measures that the FCC puts in place. The last myth is 5G is harmful to the environment. It will disrupt wildlife and their migratory patterns. This is not true as well. There's been a lot of reports, bird studies by Audubon Magazine and the American Bee Journal that debunks this myth. The next slide just shows the different kind of rays that the RF spectrum or the energy around us are. There's two types. There's the non-ionizing and then there's the ionizing rays. The ionizing rays are rays that are more harmful to us than the non-ionizing. These are rays that fall into ultraviolet, X-rays, gamma rays. When we go to the doctor, or they'll make us wear like some kind of lead vest to protect us from these X-rays and these gamma rays. And then there's the non-ionizing rays, which the small cell equipment falls under, are radio waves, like cell phones and AM and FM TV waves. All right. And the next slides are just photo simulations of the areas in Kahala that Verizon is proposing to install these small cell sites. These small cell sites are going to be attaching to new pole streetlights. So we're going to replace the existing streetlight and put in a new pole. And this is what the equipment will look like at the top. Actually, this is kind of switched around here. It's supposed to be these two. So these are just the different views of the small cell sites. So the first one will be at this address 4557 Kolohala Street. The next one will be at 4420 Ukai Avenue. And then the last one will be at 4125 Papu Circle. Okay, and that is all. Any questions?
Questions from the board?
So just to clarify, so these poles will be replacing old poles? Is that the way? It's not going to be an additional pole, but it's going to be replacing an old pole,
That is correct.
and it'll have both the street light and the whatever you call that again, the
small cell
cell tower.
equipment.
So the
Yeah,
cell
yeah.
tower and the street light will be on the same pole. Okay, so it's
That is
not an
correct.
additional pole.
No, it's not an additional pole. We're going to be transferring existing street signage, if there are any, such as this site, Kahala SC06, has an existing street signage here. We're going to be transferring that on over to the new pole.
Is it the same?
And the new pole, we're gonna try and match the existing height of the street light that was already there. So not going to be significantly taller or shorter.
So the visual presentation will be relatively the same as it presently exists.
Correct, except for the you'll notice the equipment at the very top of the pole. That's the only major change of the street light is just all the equipment there at the very top.
All right, thank you for the clarification.
You're
And one
welcome.
more question, is the light itself going to be the same or is it different technology?
The luminaire is going to be the same. We're going to transfer the existing luminaire on over to the new pole. So there won't be like a super bright new light that you'll notice. You'll hardly notice any new lighting change at all since we're using transferring the existing luminaire.
Brian Wong, two quick questions. One is this technology like you've shown here installed in other communities on Oahu?
Yes. There was one just recently installed by AT&T. I don't have the exact address at the top of my head, but I can email it out, and you guys can drive by and check it out. I mean, it's a similar. There's small cell equipment, and I'm sure there's others. Other carriers have installed small cell equipment on existing poles as well. But I just don't have the addresses at the top of my head.
Okay, so this is the first one installed by Verizon on Oahu.
Yes, correct. This is the first one.
Okay.
I believe like Verizon, they're in the process of installing other ones. They do have permits approved already by the city and county for other areas of Oahu that they're going to be installed this year. So
Got it. And I'm assuming in design and all of that stuff that it's rated for high winds, hurricane, for instance.
yes. So before when we come up with the finalized design, we run through calculations. The engineers run a series of their calcs in order to pass the pole.
Got it. Okay. Any questions from the community? All right. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Great. Thank you.
And let's see, we'll move on to temporary art project installation unveiling at Triangle Park. Anybody here to present that? Okay, the information is there on the agenda anyway. There's the unveiling on tomorrow. Oh, it was the last one. Got it. Okay, we'll move on. Eco transformer pole installation. Moving on. All right. Board of Water Supply, Waiʻalae-Nui Production Well Project. Moving on, Neighborhood Commission Board, okay. Anson, or you're gonna talk to this?
So there's a 3 absence letter for member Peter Dudgeon. And all he has to do is just explain why, just give a brief explanation why he's been missing those days. And if the board wants to make a motion to kick him off, they can. But if there's no motion or anything, he stays on the board. That's it. Okay? Just
under presentations. Yeah. Well, okay. Starting with October, I got COVID and stuck in the mainland in Idaho for a long time. It was off island in November. And strangely enough, January is the most recent one. And I haven't the slightest idea why I wasn't here. I think I just spaced on it. But you don't have to put that in your report, the last part, yeah.
If there's any motions, otherwise we'll move on. I see no motions. We'll go to the next topic. Thank you, Peter. We enjoy your company when you. Yeah. All right, formalities, appreciate that. Okay, moving on to Department of Environmental Services, sewer fee increases. Oh, that's what we got the handout earlier.
Aloha. That's okay. Aloha board members, community. My name is Mike O'Keefe. I'm the Deputy Director at the city's Department of Environmental Services. And yeah, I'm here to talk about a proposal to increase the city's sewer fees. So before I get into that, a little background about our department, some important context, I think, for this discussion. Our department operates and maintains all of the city's solid waste and wastewater infrastructure. On the solid waste side, that's everything from the Waiʻalae-Kāhala Gulch landfill, H-Power, the city's waste to energy facility. We have 10 refuse and recycling drop-off facilities around Oahu. And we manage all of the yellow trucks that you see going through the neighborhoods, collecting the 3 carts at your homes. On the wastewater side of the operation, which is kind of what I'm here to talk about tonight, we manage 2,100 miles of the city's sewer system. We also manage the 72 wastewater pump stations that are fed by those 2,100 miles of sewer system, and then the 9 wastewater treatment plants that process about 100 million gallons of sewage, of wastewater every day before it's discharged into the environment. An important note about the wastewater operation of our department: we are completely financially self-sustaining. So all these efforts to operate and maintain and build the wastewater system and infrastructure, that's entirely funded by the sewer fees that I'm here to talk about tonight. We don't take any money from the city's general fund. We don't take any money from property taxes. We're completely self-sustaining. Just an important note. We haven't raised our sewer fees since 2016, but like everyone else, our costs have gone up. Our daily costs, our operation and maintenance costs, are what we have to pay our employees, our electricity bills, for example. We also have a very robust capital improvement or construction program that's programmed for between 2025 and 2040. The program is valued at approximately $10.1 billion. So the fee proposal that I'm here to talk about tonight is in large part to finance that construction program. Kind of the foundation of that construction program is the upgrade of the Sand Island wastewater treatment plant. It's our biggest treatment plant on island. It's the treatment plant that services this area. The upgrade of that treatment plant to what's called secondary treatment standards. We have to do that because our department in 2010 entered into a consent decree, an agreement with the Environmental Protection Agency to upgrade that plant. That upgrade project is, the total cost of that upgrade project is about $2.5 billion. We're about a quarter of the way through the project now, but and there's a lot to go. We have to finish it by 2035. The fee proposal, the rate increase that I'm going to tell you about here in a second is going to pay for that project, but a number of other construction projects as well. Fix and repair, rehabilitate sewer systems around the island. Build new infrastructure where we're having to comply with new and anticipated regulatory requirements. and prepare particularly the coastal areas of where our infrastructure exists against the impacts of climate change, specifically sea level rise that tends to erode our coastal infrastructure. So how much is the sewer bill proposed to go up? We are proposing to City Council a 10-year rate package. That's a package that increases the sewer fee incrementally every year for 10 years. The increase is set to take effect sometime this year and then expire in 2034. The details of that proposal. The first 6 years of that 10 years, we're proposing to increase the sewer fee by 9% per year. That's the first 6 years. For years 7, 8, 9, and 10, the increases drop to 8%, 7%, 6%, 5%. So cumulatively, between 2025 now and 2034, it's cumulatively 113% increase, and that's to pay for all the things I just talked about. Not a small amount. For those of you who were here, and I apologize for those of you who walked in after I got here, you can see on the handout that I gave out, and I have a pile of them on the table over there. You can see what an average bill, what the average bill will look like every year of the 10-year increase. It's on the back of the flyer. I should mention this flyer. Yeah, like I mentioned, this flyer is on the table over there, but it's also posted on our website, honolulu.gov/ENV. You can find it there. So that's the rate proposal. Two other things I'll mention quickly. For those of you who are aware of how the sewer bill is structured, the sewer bill comes on your water bill, so you pay your water and your sewer bill together. The sewer bill consists of two charges. There's a fixed, what we call a base charge every month that doesn't change no matter how much water you use. It's the same amount every month. There's also a volumetric component that is based entirely on water usage. So if you don't use any water, you won't have any volumetric charge. And then it's a charge of 1,000 per 1,000 gallons. That ratio of fixed charge to a volumetric charge is currently about 70% to 30%, 70% fixed to 30% volumetric. When we convened a stakeholder group to inform the development of our rate increase proposal, we heard that from the community, they wanted a different ratio. They didn't want the 70-30. They thought the 70 was too high for the fixed charge. So what we're doing with our proposal to increase fees, we're also proposing to even out the ratio of the fixed to volumetric charge. So we're moving from a 70% fixed, 30% volume to 50-50. What that does is gives the user, our customers, everyone in this room, a greater ability to control their bill by using less water, essentially. Second thing we're doing with these proposed rates is something we haven't done before, which is offer a customer assistance program. Now, this is kind of an acknowledgement that over the course of 10 years, the rate increases are significant. We are going to establish this program, dedicate $10 million annually to fund it, and it will be it'll be a needs-based or an income-based qualification process where folks will have to apply at the beginning of the program, periodically reapply and reconfirm income levels. And assuming they qualify, they'll be eligible for a $20 to $30 a month credit on their sewer bill every month. That's to offset some of these increases. That's the high-level overview of the proposed rate increases. I should also mention too that the proposal to increase rates is currently at City Council. Rates are set in our local ordinance, the revised ordinances of Honolulu. In order to change rates, you have to pass a bill with new rates in it. So that's what we're trying to do now. The bill needs to be heard at least 3 times. It was heard once back in November at introduction. It's currently with City Council's Committee on Budget, where presumably it'll get a second hearing. And it's possible that it could go to a third hearing at full council after budget, but it's also possible that it could go to another committee. So that's where it's at now. That's the summary of the proposed sewer fee increases, but I'm happy to answer questions or provide any further information.
When you said it's self-sustainable, you're just talking about the wastewater part, not the H-Power or the dumps.
That's correct.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the lifetime of this project? Meaning, how long is it going to last after this?
The construction projects or
the equipment you're putting in, the solution you're putting in, is it meant to last 15 years and we're going to have another one of these, or is it meant to last 50 years? Or
Yeah, typically it's 40 to 50 years.
40 to 50.
Yeah. And so these proposals, just to clarify too, our department at any point in time, we have about 100 construction projects going on. Some very small relative to our department, $500,000, $1 million, ranging all the way up to this $2.5 billion one at Sand Island that I talked about. So different projects build different things, but if we're talking about like the larger infrastructure, like upgrading the treatment plant over at Sand Island, that's the 40 to 50 year project that I'm talking about.
Then I assume when you talk about it's working for climate change and sea level rise, you're talking out 50 years projection.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mike, on the flyer, just for clarification, just make sure we're reading this correctly. On the side that shows how much my bill will go up, the chart there, is that a monthly or annual charge?
That's monthly.
That is monthly. Yes. Yeah.
That's what appears on together with your water bill from the Board of Water Supply.
And this is the sewer,
the sewer
fee
portion.
Yeah. Of that. Okay. I'm not sure if you had any information to share, but a few years ago, there was, not in your office, but there was a presentation about fees related to having green space in your yard versus concrete space. And I'm just curious to know if that's still bubbling on the back burner somewhere. Is that still viable? That may happen soon.
So I'm pretty familiar with that. It's not my department. It's so we're Department of Environmental Services. That's Department of Facility Maintenance. But they are still interested. It's called a stormwater utility fee. They're still interested in doing that. But there's no immediate plans to pursue it like this right now. This is what the city is putting forward right now.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? We'll just, if you can stand up to the mic so we can record it on our. Thank you.
I wanted to ask the same question. Thank you. And it's sad that we don't have more of these in placement, like Dwell, has like preserving water, and it kills me. I'm looking at all these sprinklers going off in the middle of the night on the parking lot. So apparently we should call that in or something. But I wanted to ask you about the recycling program. I'm not very impressed with Boy's recycling program in means of I couldn't even get a blue bin where I live for half residents because they said it's half business, not fair. So here I am begging to recycle. But are you in any way involved or connected with Reynolds recycling? Okay. Okay. Guess that's gonna be I wanted to ask you, so the wastewater, does that include the pipe of Kāhala that runs out, that is runoff? I believe it's a large pipe right off when it kind of jets out. Right. But it's polluted when we have homeless living in the canals and living in the, actually the canals basically. And apparently recently we had a big flush, the canals were flushed out a couple of times. Shopping carts imploding and trash because they're so thoughtful. So that then actually becomes sewage then, right? And that's what we're talking about, groundwater status.
Yeah, so it's this issue of stormwater runoff, excessively polluted stormwater runoff, yeah, exactly, has come up with the recent rains. And again, it's something our Department of Facility Maintenance manages, and they're very well aware. I hear this. I go to a lot of neighborhood boards, and I hear that very same comment. So it's good that the community is speaking up. But they're very well aware of it and are dedicating extra resources to clean out homeless encampments, but just the residual trash left behind, because that everything that any water that falls on the ground goes into the ocean. There's no treatment system for stormwater on Oahu. It's like there is for sewage, but yeah, so it's very important to get that stuff out of the environment because it ends up in the ocean otherwise. Well, the Department of Facilities Maintenance is refocusing resources and efforts to those waterways that are the channel point to common area waters. So this was a yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, one last question, Lee.
Yeah, your handout talks about all the residential fees and the increases. How does this affect hotels and business buildings? Is that another?
Yeah, thanks for
schedule?
asking that. It's all the same. So these increases will be passed along to the hotels, which are billed quite similarly to how residences are billed. So I'll just give you an example. I talk about base charges, fixed base charges versus volumetric. A typical single family home will have one fixed base charge, and then they'll have their volumetric charges. If you have like a high rise, like a big hotel with 200 units per se, they'll pay that fixed base charge 200 times plus whatever mixed use they have on lower level floors. There's base charges associated with that. So the short answer is their bills are quite high because they have a huge contribution and impact to the system, and they have to pay for that. Yes, yeah, that as well.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate the information. Okay, and last for presentation, Sakai family, Waiʻalae Avenue DOT Community Demand Letter. Nope, not tonight. Okay, that looks like that's it there. We will move to the approval of previous meetings minutes. January's minute. Sylvia, I'll turn to you. Any details? You got it, Anson?
Yeah, I got her information that all the corrections I need to make. So we're
Okay.
good.
So we can move to make a motion to approve as amended.
Yes.
Mhm. Rich moves. Second, Lee. On favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay. The minutes are approved. All right, and then we've got some announcements just to share here. Hawaii Pacific Health Women's what is this, 10K and 5K fun run, Saturday, May 10th at Kahala Mall, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Well, that's going to be an interesting fun one, I would think. And then another one on sooner, the 23rd, coming up very shortly at Kapiolani Park at 6:30 a.m. And Nawahine Sprint Triathlon Sunday, July 27th at Kapiolani Park, starting at 6 a.m. Race Organized will coordinate with special duty police officers for traffic management and roadway solution and GP roadway solutions for road signage. And as a reminder, neighborhood board candidate registration, information is there, online registration till tomorrow. Mail in, got to be postmarked by tomorrow, received by the 28th of February. And you can register on the link that's on the website there. Our next meeting right now is scheduled for March 20th. Next Thursday, March 20th. Here at the Waiʻalae Golf Course, we are still looking for a more permanent home closer to our area. Okay. Pardon? Go ahead.
Was here last month, and Chair Christian raised a question regarding the Sony Open. And the question may have been answered, but I haven't heard a reply. And the question is, does the Sony Open, apart from the overall economic benefit, make a contribution to DPR or the exclusive use of the park, Kāhala Community Park? If it does, where does the funds, how much is it, and where do the funds go? I don't know if it was answered, but I did hear him ask the question last meeting.
Okay. We'll follow up on that. It's a good question. Appreciate it. Got it. That's fine. Okay, appreciate it. I think we will adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.